Comic books love to cover all aspects of life because it helps keep the reader grounded in some form of reality similar to their own. That being said, some of the romantic pairings that have been selected for the Avengers are just straight up weird. I'm going to break down our top 10 in a moment, but first, if you could please smash that like button, we would really appreciate your support. And with that out of the way, let's just dive right into today's top 10. Coming in at number 10, Agent Venom and Valkyrie. When the military hero Flash Thompson was selected to be the host of the Venom symbiote as Agent Venom, he was handpicked by Steve Rogers himself, just establishing the Avengers connection because he did fight alongside Hawkeye's Secret Avengers team. And while he was with said team, he started this very flirtatious and strange romance with Valkyrie, one that she herself would soon after escalate into a more physical romance. Now, while it may seem sort of interesting to have this enhanced alien soldier dating an Asgardian Grim Reaper, it just didn't make the cut when the creative team wanted to make changes. Because they found it a little weird. Coming in at number 9, Scarlet Witch and Vision. Now I know what some of you are thinking, whoa Johnny, come on, they just got their own Disney Plus show, why would you put them on this list? Well friends, as healthy as their relationship can appear on screen for the MCU, it is an entirely different story in comic books. The comic version of these two characters get married and for a brief period they're happy. However, slowly the differences between android and human life become more apparent to them, and thus their relationship begins to fall apart at the seams. More specifically in the Tom King Vision series, we see a less than ideal relationship between Wanda and Vision. Due to Vision's lack of awareness when it comes to things like basic human emotions, and of course his inability to give Wanda children, the pair just felt strange to watch work through all of these extremely obvious red flags in their romance. Coming in at number 8, Thor and Jane Foster. Much like Scarlet Witch and Vision, Thor and Jane Foster suffer from a similar romance red flag. The fact that they are literally two different types of creatures certainly creates issues, and this becomes even more apparent when a partner is in need and it's clear that the other just doesn't have the tools mentally, physically, or emotionally to assist them. Thor is a god from Asgard and Jane is a doctor on Earth. Both jobs would certainly be impressive to their peers on their respective planets, but from the jump of their blooming romance, even they knew it was a little bit weird. Now to be fair, this relationship becomes much less weird once Jane actually takes over the title of Thor. Coming in at number 7, Yellow Jacket and Wasp. Now when we're talking about the Avengers, we can't forget the weird relationship between the founding members Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. Now, this pair had a pretty normal relationship for many years. However, things began to take a weird turn when Hank experienced a mental break. As he was processing this change in his mental state though, he decided to create an alternate superhero identity for himself called Yellow Jacket. Now Wasp knew that this was Hank the whole time, but the rest of the Avengers didn't know that it was Hank, and even Yellow Jacket himself would forget that he was Hank Pym. So when the Yellow Jacket and Wasp had a surprise wedding, it was all the more shocking. Eventually the team would discover the truth, but by that time Hank's mental health had worsened. Eventually he got better, but then his relationship ended, so yeah, the whole thing was weird. Coming in at number 6, Black Knight and SERSI. While Dane Whitman was holding the title of Black Knight, he joined the Avengers, which is where he would end up meeting the very powerful Eternal known as SERSI. Slowly but surely, a weird relationship began to form between these two battle-ready warriors. Although when an evil villain named Proctor came from the future to kill every SERSI across the multiverse, their bond was strengthened because, well, it was put to the test. This was a pivotal moment for their relationship, and to make their bond extra strong, they enlisted the help of fellow Eternal Icarus. Icarus made it possible for Dane and SERSI to actually fight Proctor, although in a shocking turn of events, Proctor turns out to be a version of Whitman from the future that just went insane. Once they defeat Proctor, the pair try to work on their relationship, but as that eternal bond disappeared, so did their will to stay together and make it work. Coming in at number 5, Thor and Captain America. Okay, now I know what you're thinking right away, and I was just as shocked, which is why this relationship feels weird to some people. In Marvel's all new, all different Avengers, they put together a brand new team of heroes, and I mean brand new. Within that were, of course, some of their next generation versions of their classic heroes like Thor and Captain America. Except in this comic, Sam Wilson is holding the mantle of Captain America already, and Jane Foster is the new Thor, which leads to a very interesting kiss between the two that completely divided comic book audiences. Mostly because of that first point I made. The MCU did an excellent job of making you think of these two characters in a certain way. You know, longtime friends who were excellent teammates for many years. However, this time, readers got to explore a new dynamic between Sam, Jane, and the classic hero positions they represent. Although, that being said, much like Thor playing a game of Fortnite, this experience was short-lived. Coming in at number 4, Spider-Man and Mockingbird. This one is an interesting relationship because as heroes, these two were an excellent pairing together, but the thing that made it weird was that their real-life personas didn't match up at all. After the secret invasion, Mockingbird was attempting to escape her ex-husband Hawkeye. This eventually led her to take cover with S.H.I.E.L.D. pun intended, which is where she would start working with Parker Industries. While there, Peter designed her a brand new advanced costume and they slowly started to build a flirtatious relationship. This did lead to some genuine feelings after they experienced fighting on missions together, but then the pair officially began to date for a bit, but honestly it was a really low point in both of their character storylines. Coming in at number 3, Scarlet Witch and Wonder Man. This one is the definition of weird and messy. I mean, compared to what Wanda's relationship would turn into later on with Vision, this one with Wonder Man isn't that bad. Although, here's where things get just a little bit messy. Ultron used Simon Williams' brain patterns to create Vision. Yeah, so when she began to have feelings for Vision, Wanda really started to question if they were genuine or not. Then after Wonder Man died, things got even weirder because his ionic energy ghost began haunting Wanda until she agreed to bring him back to life so that they could date. Man, am I right, ladies? Terrible joke. The worst part is that after Simon came back, it was already too late. Wanda's feelings for Vision were so strong, and this drove them apart. Coming in at number 2, She-Hulk and Thor. Not unlike our Thor and Captain America point, this relationship also challenged the typical dynamic of Earth's greatest heroes. When Jennifer Walters transformed into a more Hulk-like version of herself, she entered into a physical and then romantic relationship with Thor. This was definitely a weird choice for a relationship pairing, and not only did it take audiences a long time to get used to the idea, but the Avengers equally struggled with it. However, despite the haters, love prevailed during the Empire event where they made things official. Still weird. But not the weirdest. Coming in at our number 1 spot, Iron Man and Tony Stark. At this point, we've gone through some pretty weird relationships, which really makes you wonder what these writers were thinking when they put the pen to the pad. I mean, you have to assume they were on something to come up with some of these ideas. I mean, take our final point. In Invincible Iron Man number 30, Tony Stark's Iron Man suit is struck by lightning and gains sentience, which leads to it falling in love with Tony Stark. Like, bruh, what? Then when Tony says he doesn't like Iron Man like that, the suit apparently gets its feelings hurt and decides to kidnap him. Then the suit takes him to an island, actually ties him to a tree, and tortures him. Ultimately, the suit of armor tears out its own heart to save Tony, but it certainly was a bizarre storyline and a really toxic relationship. Now, before we get out of here, let's quickly check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Things We Need in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Sunstar says, I'm really on board with them fleshing out Sam's past with this new series as well as developing his character further. Yeah, I'm really interested to see where they take it, and who knows, maybe we'll see him getting into a relationship with the female Thor there. Chris Bradley says, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be amazing. Great job on this video, Johnny. I agree, Chris. I can't wait to watch it, and I thank you so much for that lovely comment. Tiffany Taylor says, I definitely think that it would be a good step for them to talk about the recent BLM movement. Like I said, it would be a misstep if they didn't talk about it. It seems like a very good opportunity. Mary Frank says, well, it was Matt Murdock who defends Bucky in his trial as war criminal. If Matt isn't shown defending Bucky, hopefully it will be mentioned. Yeah, like I said, I hope that they at least allude to some things, just to help us tie some of these storylines together. The Wanda and Vision thing alone was a huge storyline tie, so hopefully this one will also help. Terminator 156 says, I wonder how many people are still going to watch the MCU now that Iron Man and Steve Rogers are gone forever. You know what? I think they are special to an older generation, and I think a new generation is going to be equally attached to these next generation heroes. So I think the MCU will just keep thriving in this environment. But that has been the Top 10 Weirdest Avengers Romances. Thank you so much for watching, and if you don't want to miss another Top 10 Nerd video, make sure you tap that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. For now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube.